Go.
Alright, I got two stories for you all. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to only tell you one. It's going to be a two-parter. One's an actual account tale that I have to tell you guys. The other is fake. I'm not going to say which one is fake and which one is not. I'm going to let that for you to decide. Here's the first one. Many years ago, there was a story that basically came around my old town about a haunted cave just north of here. Many hunters refuse to go anywhere near there because, well, many have been reports of bodies showing up, and they're not whole bodies. For some strange reason, they keep on missing their head. So whatever was out there has been decapitating them. Now, I basically once came close to that cave, wherever the thing was. From what I could tell, there was old writing on it. Like, it was all weathered down and all that for God knows how long. I'm guessing it was some sort of Aboriginal warning. I was able to take a photo of this, sent it to one of my friends who actually studied the old language. It told me that was actually a warning for those that was from the settlers. Turns out, a long time ago, there was a treaty that was made upon the lands where my town was made. The Aboriginals said, you can live here, but we get a share of the profits, we get the share of the land. If you do not comply, we're gonna basically cast a curse upon this land to summon this spirit of this spirit that basically will haunt this entire land until everyone leaves. Basically, this thing was meant as a way of reclaiming. So, I went inside the cave. I can remember the smell. The smell of decay, the smell of rot. It was actually pretty bad. Like, I still remember seeing a bit of blood splatting against the wall. The whole thing was just surreal. Of course, I came across a few skull bones. Once I found those skulls deep inside the cave, I basically left the cave and basically reported it to the police. Of course, they sent a few squad cars out here just to investigate. I even requested that they bring in some extra firepower just in case if there was something that's still inside the cave. Because they say the entity will only appear at night or during whenever there's a huge overcast. And they were saying for the weather that day, there was an overcast going to be happening in the evening, so they basically came in, locked and loaded. They were able to identify at least some of the skulls. But unfortunately, they were not able to find all of them. Some people have been able to say that the skulls were basically taken by local pranksters or kids trying to, for some dark satanic shit or something. But things have been basically rough for the people that couldn't find the solace for the family members that was lost. We were able to close off the cave, but because of the implications, there's been weird sounds that have been coming in from the surrounding woods, like the sound of whooping. Many people say that the whooping is the entity trying to call out other entities, but I do not know what this thing is precise. But one of my friends said he has come face to face with it. Alright. 1 second. Okay, there. Basically, for the entity, it looks like a tall, lanky figure, but it has these long claws that they almost look like sticks. Think the Wendigo, but it looks more like a tree. This thing, whatever it is, has been cited numerous accounts after the cave was closed. Obviously, it did not like the fact that we went into its lair or whatever the hell it is. Shortly after, we had to, well, call in an old shaman to try to bless this place, to try to get this thing far away from the town, because there was multiple cases shortly after the cave was closed. There was at least 5 more cases of people's decapitated bodies showing up in the woods. So obviously, us trying to block it didn't work, so we had to bring in the shaman to try to cleanse the land. The whole ordeal took about 4 days. The whole thing was just a huge mess, because things were just not right. The shaman says you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to make sure that the moon is within the certain phase, and we have to basically make sure that the thing is currently on top of the cave or something. It's basically, it had to be close to where it was first summoned. Which, to be honest, I was like, okay. Eventually, we were able to catch it nearby by a stream. The shaman says that it's been sighted in this, well, it's been seen around the stream. The shaman says that's close enough, but we don't know if it will work. So after the 4th day, he performed this ritual that basically required, like, someone to basically go in, provide a little drop of blood upon this cross-looking thing. I can't even recognize what it is. Unfortunately, I am not well educated in this whole thing about the Native American culture, unfortunately, but this little totem was said to ward him off. I mean, he needed a bit of a blood, like a drip of blood. So, luckily, we had somebody that was willing to do that with one of the officers. Shortly after that, the thing stopped appearing. The weird thing is, we can still hear the whooping in the woods, though, but there has been no more cases of missing people. Unfortunately, we don't know what the whooping is then. If it wasn't the entity, we don't know what it was. Just something else that's been alerted, or just some sort of local animal, we don't know. Unfortunately, everyone was safe for the time being, but we have to keep our eyes open in the area just in case if there's any more mysterious activity. Doesn't help that some local cults also try to move in on the area, thinking that they could be able to do some sort of weird summonings thing as well for like satanic stuff. But luckily, the police arrest them before they even get a chance anywhere near those, like the cave, because they basically marked it as private property, owned as the government. No one's allowed in. They fenced off the area. They couldn't be able to stop one cult though, but we haven't been able to hear about where he was, what they were doing. Is this a local traveler, I guess? The energy there is messed up. Like, if any of you come to where I live and you go slightly north, past this old pond, that's where, like, there's this pond north of my town. You go past that for about 2 miles. You'll feel like you're being watched. And you probably are. I don't recommend anyone to go through the gate because, well, as I said, government property. Don't go in there. The whole thing is just a mess. I still get the feeling, though, that I was being followed that day when I went into that cave. Like, it knew that I was basically going to make a move on it or something. This whole thing was just chaotic. That's all I have for that story, because...
And that was Shade Foxy's first story. Stay tuned tomorrow to hear the next story he will tell us.
Sorry, I got distracted by Moonshadow trying to get into the world, and I'm